Hi and welcome to wrist training. In between exercises I'm going to read something about the Frank-Starling Law, and participating in the exercises is at your own risk. And the Frank-Starling Law has to do with the blood system, so I'm going to talk the whole time about the blood system. Let's start with the first exercise. Go to line shoulders, arm comfortable at the side, and hand form to a fist. We'll bring the fist up and again down. And we're doing it slowly and carefully. Nothing should hurt here. If anything hurts, then stop. So we're going slowly up as far as we can go, with only a little effort. And when we've reached that point, which you can reach with a little effort, we are slowly turning around and are going into the other direction. And now we're going to do it for the last time. Now we're going to do it with the other arm. Go to the shoulders, arm comfortable at the side, hand form to a fist, and we're turning that fist down and again up. We're going slowly up as far as we can go, and then we are going slowly down as far as we can go. And one last time. And now to the Frank-Starling Law. First bullet point. The Frank-Starling Law has to do with a heartbeat. So this Frank-Starling Law has to do with a heartbeat. The heart is here and the heart has a beat. And this Frank-Starling Law has to do with it. The Frank-Starling Law is about the amount of blood pumped by the heart. So the heart pumps blood through the body. And the Frank-Starling Law has something to do with the amount of blood. So the heart pumps blood, and it's an amount, it can be more or less, and the Frank-Starling Law says something to this amount, or about the amount which is pumped. And now the next exercise, and now the flashlight. We're having again go to line shoulders, we're uncomfortable at the side, hand form to a fist, we're turning the fist to the inside and to the outside. And slowly get to the inside and to the outside. We are going slowly as far as we can go, with a little effort, all of course painless. And as soon as we've reached that point which you can reach with a little effort, we are turning slowly around. And the last time. Now on the other side. Hand form to a fist, come to the side, and turning the fist to the outside and to the inside. Going as far as we can go with a little effort, and then we're turning slowly around and going into the other direction. And last time. And back to the Frank-Starling Law. The heart has 4 chambers. The 2 atria, right and left in the upper part, and the 2 ventricles, right and left underneath the 2 upper atrias. So the heart has 4 chambers. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the right atria, the left atria, the right ventricle, and the left ventricle. Before the heart beats, and through which the blood is pumped out of the heart, the 2 ventricles are filling with blood. So the 2 ventricles are the 2 here, and before the heart beats, they are filling up with blood. So here's blood running in through the, through the ventricle, through the pulmonary vein, the right ventricle, and I don't know if I want. And so we're filling up for pulmonary artery. So into the right atria comes the pulmonary vein, into the right atrium, and then it fills from the right atrium into the right ventricle, and okay, whatever. So we are both filling up with blood, and before the heartbeat happens. While the heart relaxes from its last heartbeat contraction, the two ventricle chambers are filling with blood, so that both chambers are loaded and the next heartbeat can expulse the blood. The right ventricle chamber over the pulmonary artery to the lungs, the right ventricle to the lungs, to get oxygen, and the other left ventricle chamber to the aorta to deliver the oxygen which the pulmonary vein had brought back from the lungs to the body. So the pulmonary vein had brought back the blood from the lungs. The pulmonary vein comes into the right atrium, and the right atrium fills into the left atrium. And the left atrium is from the perspective of our heart. Into the left atrium, and the left atrium fills the right ventricle, and the right ventricle fills to bring then, with a heartbeat, blood into the aorta. And now to the next exercise. It's the magician. Handcuff the left side, flat hand to the ground, and we're bringing it hands slowly to the inside and to the outside. And again slowly to the inside and to the outside. Last time. And now with the other hand fall flat to the ground, and we bring the hand to the outside and to the inside. And to the inside and to the inside. And last time. And we're going directly on with the next exercise, the pancake flipper. Same setup, and now we're turning that flat hand to the sky and back to the ground. Same rules, we are turning it slowly as far as we can. Turn it, and as soon as we've reached the point which we can reach with little effort in turning, we're turning it around again. And one last time. Now with your right. Up, down. And we're slowly going as far as we can go, with a little effort, and then we're turning around again. And one last time. And back to the Frank-Starling Law. The stroke volume is the amount of blood expulsed from the ventricular chambers to pulmonary vein and aorta. So the amount of blood in the two ventricles, which is expulsed by the heartbeat, that is the stroke volume. The left ventricle expulses into or pushes into the aorta, and the right ventricle is from the perspective of the heart. So from the perspective of the heart, this is the right. The right ventricle brings it into the pulmonary vein. Artery. Whatever. That is not important for Frank-Starling Law. The Frank-Starling Law says that the more blood was loaded into the ventricular chambers, the more blood is expulsed into pulmonary vein and aorta. So the Frank-Starling Law says that the more blood was filled in, the more is expulsed. Some cardiac muscles are mentioned. It is said that the cardiac muscles stretch more because of the higher load. So if there's more loaded in the ventricles, these cardiac muscles, wherever they are, whatever they do, are more under stretch. It's logical. And because the cardiac muscles are under greater stretch, the heartbeat's contraction will have a harder force. Now to the next exercise. It's the T-Rex in the model. Both hands out to flat hands, and we bring the flat hands down and up. And again, down and up. And that was the last time. Now we're going to do the T-Rex in the gym. If you don't have a tennis ball, do it without one. So I'm taking the tennis ball like this, hold it with 4 hot fingers, down to the ground, and we are pressing it with moderate force. And releasing it. And another time, we are pressing and releasing again. And we are pressing and release again. And now we're switching and pressing. And releasing again. And we are pressing. Release, and last time we are pressing and release again. And that was the T-Rex in the gym. Now to the cautious big bang. So the fingertips of one hand are on top of the fingernails of the other one. We are opening against it. And we are closing again against the pressure. So these fingertips are pressuring against the fingernails of the other hand. And we must work against that force. And now we're switching. And that hand has to open now against resistance and close slowly with resistance. So resistance against closing slower, faster. And the last time. And that was of course the big bang. Now to the triangular castle acting. Both hands out with fists and we're turning the fists towards each other. And we're turning them up and to the side. And down. And to the inside. Down again. And to the outside. And up. And to the inside. Now to the last thing, to the Frank-Starling Law. No extra regulator regulating something is necessary. The greater amount of pressure in the ventricles is responsible for greater explosion. The cardiac muscles are under greater tension. The following explosion has greater force. Frank-Starling Law states that. So there hasn't to be any additional mechanism to regulate this, just because the ventricles are filled up more with blood, they are more loaded with blood, they are under greater pressure, the cardiac muscles, and with the heartbeats there comes a stronger beat and more blood is pressured out, and the whole system pumps more blood, the stroke volume is greater, just because the cardiac muscles were under greater pressure because more blood was in the ventricles. The last exercise, the crab anxious to have fever. We're having the arm at the side, the fist turned down to the ground, reversing from the side with the index finger, and now from the other side, and from the bottom, from the top, now from the bottom, against the third finger, and we are switching, arm comfortable with the side, fist down to the bottom, and we're pressing from the side. Other side, from the outside, and from the top against the third finger, and from the bottom against the third finger. Now a little relaxation for the extension digitorum. We're going with the fingers over the middle part of the lower arm a couple of times. And the last time, now on the other side. And last time. And we're done with the wrist training. So the Frank-Starling Law says that the more blood is loaded into the ventricles, the more is also coming out into the aorta and I think it's pulmonary artery, but whatever, more is coming out because the cardiac muscles are under greater tension, more blood is filled in and the heartbeat has more force, and without any further regulation, just because there's more filled into the ventricles, more comes out. Thank you very much, and have a next time.